Action SA leader Herman Mashaba has just held a media briefing where he made an announcement on the membership of a certain individual who's joining Action SA. My colleague Natasha Piri is on that story for us. Good morning to Natasha. Thanks indeed for your time. So has the big reveal taken place? Who is this person that Herman Mashaba has announced as joining Action SA? Interesting. Is it from another political party as well?
Well, thank you so much, Chris Alden. Of course, to our SABC viewers, indeed, she is a former DAPR councillor, and of course, the former Speaker of Council in the Knysna municipality. And of course, she has now joined Action SA. They call her bigwig, a heavyweight, especially in the legal fraternity. And today, we just saw the party and party president, Action SA President Herman Mashaba, introducing Advocate Julianne Lopez to the party, and of course she will be helping with the legal work of the party. Advocate, thank you so much for joining us on SABC News. I mean, my colleague Crisaldo was asking that you're a former DA member, and of course you are, and now you've jumped ship. This is where you want to make action within Action SA. How will you be going about doing that?
Well, basically, thank you, Natasha. This is an amazing opportunity for me. Basically, we have the ability to get involved on the grassroots, actually go to the Human Rights Commission, actually run litigation, bring legal reviews, challenge environmental issues within the Western Cape. We are primarily now initially focusing on the Western Cape. It's to bring good governance back to South Africa without, with speedily, and that's the one thing that the Action SA offers, is, in my opinion, where the DA unfortunately doesn't. It's slow, it's got lots of procedures and processes in place, it's a very large party, and we need to change the way we go about things in this country. And to me, Action SA and President Mashaba offer exactly that opportunity, where he will take the steps necessary to ensure good governance, to ensure service delivery, to ensure that the rule of law is upheld. And that is what I'm so excited about, that we will be spearheading projects throughout the Western Cape to achieve that.
Okay, Advocate, thank you so much for your time. Let me relieve you. I know that you're busy with the party's posters. Let's just take this conversation, Crisalda, to the president of Action SA, Mr. Herman Mashaba. Before we get into the gist of other issues, just my colleague was speaking then in KZN about the Cleveland hostel shootings. There now been mass murders there. Your immediate reaction: 7 people have unfortunately been killed.
You know, it really breaks one's heart to know that in our country we have 70 people being murdered on a daily basis, and it looks like our parliament and our politicians are not taking these matters seriously. So all of us as South Africans, we're really vulnerable. You know, we want to live in a country where the country can fail on other aspects, but when they cannot really protect our lives, it really leaves me really very angry. That is why personally, and I've said to my colleagues in Action SA in South Africa, that honestly I believe when Action SA goes back into, we go into Parliament, we are going to really push for the return of the death penalty. For careless matters like this, I'm not really prepared to really give such people another opportunity. As you are aware, Natasha, Action SA is going to have our policy conference from the 12th to the 14th of September. Personally, I am going to really request our delegates, let us really to challenge first-degree murders, rape and drug dealers who are destroying our families. Well, let's consider really, when we go to Parliament, really ask for the death penalty to really be brought back into this country so that we can really save the lives of South Africans.
Mr. Mashaba, just also moving on to other issues. I mean, yes, I've asked you about the issue earlier on. It is an elephant in the room. The issue around the book, The Outsider. You've just clarified for us, but perhaps for viewers who don't know, you had said that you signed this contract in 2019 with Mr. Prince Mashele, and this is 2 years before Action SA was actually formed.
Yes, I signed the contract, as I've indicated, on the 10th of March 2019, almost 2 years before the formation of Action SA. At that time, with no knowledge that one day there'll be a political party as Action SA. The book was going to be a 4-year project for Prince Mashele to deliver it by December 2022. At the time, I was going to serve as the mayor of the city of Johannesburg until 2021. Unfortunately, in the process, the DA and ANC came out with plans to remove me as the mayor. That gave ultimately birth to Action SA. So this contract with Prince was signed long before I could even think that I will actually leave the DA in a manner in which I left.
I think, Mr. Mashaba, also another issue that, people have been asking themselves about and probably questioning, especially from the side of Prince Mashele, when he initially had said that he funded this book out of his own his own pockets, but then it was found out that you actually funded the book. People have now been questioning his credibility. Are you not worried about that? As a leader of Action SA, you're going to the polls, you want to unseat the ANC government. Are you not worried about the credibility of Mr. Mashele?
Well, fortunately enough, as I've said during the press conference, and I've said this on many other platforms, and I'm saying this to you, that right now I'm not taking things for granted. That the Prince's lawyers and my lawyers, I'm not really dealing it, making sure that I leave anything out. One thing for sure, I'm proud of the work that Prince did. We need to put this book out as a biography as originally planned and declare this to the publisher, because the loan repayment, as per our original arrangement, was to be coming not from Prince, was to be coming from directly from the publisher. So my lawyers are ensuring that that is done, and I hope within the next 48 hours that the contracts will be signed, so that by end of June at the latest we can have this book back on the shelves, and also use other distribution mechanisms, because this book is actually very important for South Africa, because it's going to give South Africans an opportunity to really get the insights of the South African political landscape, how us as black business were affected by apartheid, how us as black business are affected by the corruption of ANC government, and how ANC and COSATU, with their draconian labor laws, have actually created this high unemployment in South Africa. So all these issues are covered, and Prince and his team did a fantastic job. So we are going to bring this book out as a biography, as originally planned, with a contract that I signed with him on the 10th of March 2019.
So I believe you found new publishers. Can you perhaps tell us who they are?
Well, I think this is the matter between Prince and the publisher. I don't want to get involved with the publisher. The only thing my lawyers are going to ensure that whoever Prince uses as the publisher, the contract is clear that I'm the one who gave him the funding as a loan, and I must get my money back through the royalties. The royalties from the publisher must flow directly to me. Whether I'm going to get my money over the next 5, 10, 20 years, but at the end of the day, for as long as that money is not fully paid, the publisher will have the obligation to get the money, not through Prince. It must come directly to me.
And then just last question, go back to the issue of coalitions, the Moonshot Pact of the DA. You had said that, listen, you're open to talks with them, as long as you go into a coalition or agreement with a party that does not go into a coalition with the ANC or an agreement with the ANC. But my question is, remember when you resigned in 2019, I think one of the resounding, messages you gave out through your speech was that you can't work with a party that rather prioritizes fixing or cutting grass rather than fixing age-old infrastructure. Now, for a person who remembers what you said in 2019 and what you're saying now, that you're cozying up to the idea of a Moonshot Pact of the DA, what do you say to them? Is this not you flip-flopping or going back on your word?
Look, I think, Natasha, anyone who'd ever think like that, it's someone who doesn't read, who doesn't really follow the reality of what is happening. Unfortunately, South Africa has entered the era of coalition. No, whether you're ANC or DA or Action SA, no one is going to be able to form the government on their own. So what you then do in an environment like that, you look for a better devil. So what we are saying is, anyone wanting to work with us with a full understanding and commitment that will never work with the ANC. That for us, it's a deal breaker. So we're not working with other parties because we want to work with our other parties. Would love to win outright. Is it possible? To be honest with you, Action SA, it's a new party, not known throughout the country. Yes, we're going to be working very hard the next 12 months to ensure that we can take Action SA to every corner of this country. Are we going to be able to convince the voters in a year to vote and give us outright majority? We need to really be honest with ourselves. At the end of the day, coalition is nothing unique to South Africa. If you look at the Western democracies, since the end of Second World War, they've really been running on coalition. And you don't work with coalition partners because you want to be friends with them. It is the outcome of an electoral result. So there's nothing one can do. And I don't think it'll be fair for us. Let's say, to give you an example, right now with the DA in Tshwane, you can imagine if Action SA pulls out of that arrangement, we'll be giving the municipality to ANC, because if we are not prepared to work with the DA, who else can we work? We don't have the numbers with anyone else. The only way we can keep the ANC out, we've got to work with the DA and other like-minded parties. It is not because it's something that we like, it's something that voters have forced on us.
Thank you so much for your time. Let me relieve you to do your party duties, and all the best.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Chris Aldo. Of course, that was Action SA President Mr. Herman Mashaba. Of course, we also spoke to the new member that they've actually introduced to the party, and that is Advocate Anne Lopez, who will be helping with the legal work of the party. Of course, they're also campaigning today here in Ennerdale in Ward 7 to ensure that they actually win this ward ahead of the by-elections on the 28th of June this month. Also saying that his book will be published at the end of June. They found new publishers, and also just clarifying, the whole issue around that book where Prince Mashaba was paid 12 million, and just basically saying that this agreement with Prince Mashaba actually came 2 years before he had formed Action SA. Also weighing in on those mass murders there in KZN.